You know, these types of situations are never easy to handle. So, like I told you in my last video, Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Welcome in, by the way. My name is Moose. I'm going to do my very best to stick to the facts of this case and nothing more than the facts of this case. Now, obviously, as a YouTube host, I have to sprinkle in my opinion where I see fit. And trust me, at the back half of this episode, I will absolutely give you my 2 cents on what I think is happening. But for the most part, I'm going to stick to what we know, the new details coming out about James Pearce Jr.'s arrest, which we will touch on here in just a second. And ultimately, what do the Falcons do from here? All right, so Mark Raimondi, who's been on this situation in this case for pretty much since the beginning, came out with this tweet this morning. Falcons rookie James Pearce Jr. allegedly crashed his vehicle into one being driven by WNBA player Rickea Jackson multiple times and struck a police officer with the vehicle while evading arrest, according to the criminal complaint obtained by ESPN. More coming, obviously, in the next coming hours and days surrounding this situation. And, of course, this is why you subscribe. All Falcons news all the time. If you want to stay up to date with the very latest, make sure you hit that sub button. But if you just want to keep up with it, make sure you tune in and just take a listen, because I'm going to cover everything here as we see fit. Arrest charges, as they stand currently, are, they are what they are. 2 counts of aggravated battery, aggravated stalking, fleeing and eluding police officers, aggravated battery of a law enforcement officer resisting an officer without violence to his person. Now, you might be wondering, Moose, this is all common knowledge. This is all stuff that we knew before. Where is the new details? Well, there is a little bit of a backstory here coming from Mark Raimondi's brand new ESPN report. This is the new information that we were told. Jackson, talking about Rickea Jackson, told the police that she and Pearce dated for about 3 years, but recently ended their relationship. Jackson blocked Pearce's phone number to avoid contact with him, but he used an alternate number to text her. A Friday afternoon text from Jackson told Pearce to leave her alone and that she wanted nothing to do with him. The text messages from Pearce continued through Friday into Saturday morning. Jackson showed the messages to the police. First things first, I want to be optimistic about this situation. I want to believe that there is more to this story. I want to believe that there are clouded details surrounding what happened, but for the most part, I can only go off of what you and I both know, which is what we see, what is being reported, and I can't be optimistic about this. You're facing 5 felonies. That's a lot. That's a lot to be charged with. And the Atlanta Falcons handled it kind of like you would expect any organization to handle it. They basically just said, we are aware of an incident involving James Pearce Jr. in Miami. We are in the process of gathering more information and will not have any further comment on a open legal matter at this time. I want to be very apparent about this. This has nothing to do with James Pearce Jr., the football player. Nothing. He is an excellent football player. But football needs to take a back step at this point. You cannot justify the things that he's alleged of doing, and if he is found guilty of doing those things, you cannot justify this situation because he is a good football player. Nor should any football player get an indictment, nor should any football player get a pass because they're a good football player. This is not an indictment on Pearce the player. This goes back to the beginning of the 2025 draft when Pearce was said to have gone down draft boards because of what they called character concerns. So this is not necessarily new information that we're dealing with James Pearce Jr. in terms of his attitude. Let's just go back in time. Back before April of 2025, Pearce was labeled with personality issues. That's what all the different draft documents said about him. He was the widely considered a top 10 talent in the 2025 NFL draft. And then he slid down all of these draft boards because of these personality issues. Atlanta claimed they vetted James Pearce Jr. and felt comfortable with drafting him. Okay, fine. We even heard from Jeff Ulbrich. Jeff Ulbrich said, and I quote, "He has been a model teammate. He has been a great player, showing up on time, not getting into trouble." So we thought that, okay, around the right coaching staff with the right leadership in place, James Pearce Jr. is going to have a very productive and long career with the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously now, that becomes a little bit more cloudy. We have no idea. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that James Pearce Jr. is done. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that James Pearce Jr. is going to be back week 1. We don't know. And I think that's just one of the parts of these cases and situations that you have to be okay with. We don't know. We will only know as more information comes out. Do me a favor, though. Let me know what your one-word reaction is to the James Pearce Jr. arrest. Could be anything. Mine was shocked because obviously, it's something I didn't see coming. So I'm experiencing this just like you guys are right now. So do me a favor, get down to the comment section down below. Now, before we continue on, I do have to give a word to our sponsor. They are what make all of these videos possible, and that is with Factor Meals. If you want to eat better, but you have zero time and zero energy to make it happen, Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or follow recipes. It removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. Choose from 100 rotating weekly meals with lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, the stuff that you'd make if you had the time. Plus, the new Muscle Pro collection supports strength and recovery. Quality, functional ingredients all the time, always fresh, never frozen, ready in 2 minutes. No prep, no cleanup, no mental load. You get meals that fit your goals and your schedule with healthier eating, calorie management, and more protein. Head to factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 off and use code FalconsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. Okay, so I've gone through different cases. I've gone through different ideologies and different scenarios in my head into which I believe you could look at this as a best-case scenario and a worst-case scenario. The best-case scenario in this is that he gets somewhere around a 10-game suspension. Maybe less than that. Maybe 6 to 10-game suspension. Either way, I do believe that there is a suspension coming for James Pearce Jr. if he is found guilty of all of the things that they're alleging that he did. Now the question becomes, though, what does this mean for the Falcons? Because at the end of the day, I'm still the host and almost the internet reporter of the Dirty Birds. So the Falcons don't stop playing football because of James Pearce Jr. So what do you do? Like, what do you do for edge situations if James Pearce Jr. is unavailable? Is it time to re-sign some players immediately? Does that become the very first thing that you kind of approach this whole offseason with? I mean, I have 4 players right now that I would re-sign in a heartbeat. I mean, not all 4 of them, because then you can't go after anybody else in free agency. But pick and choose. David Onyemata, Arnold Ebiketie, Leonard Floyd, Caden Ellis. All of these players are new contract eligible, and we should be exploring some options in the event that James Pearce Jr. is not going to be available. We have to. You would be just completely ignoring and not addressing the elephant in the room here. And I'm going to be completely honest, as kind of confused as I sound, it's because I don't know what to do from here. I don't know what to do with this information that's come out. I'm not the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not the parties involved in this legal case. All I can do is give you the facts and tell you what I think. So if James Pearce Jr. isn't ready to go week 1, my job is to tell you, hey, we need probably somebody else to get re-signed, or we have to attack edge either in free agency or in the draft. You have to start thinking about James Pearce Jr. not going to prison. That's the first thing that we have to think about. Because, guys, he's facing 5 felonies. Prison time is on the table. So the last thing that we have to think about is him playing for the Falcons next season when it comes to James Pearce Jr. Right? Not when it comes to the overall operation. So if we just isolated the two and we said one part of this is James Pearce Jr., the other part's the Falcons, well, they kind of intermingle, of course, but James Pearce Jr. is worried about not going to jail. The Falcons are worried about what do we do with James Pearce Jr.? And anything is possible. I saw a bunch of people bring up the Rashee Rice case. I saw a bunch of people bring up Henry Ruggs. I saw a bunch of people bring up similar players that are in these types of situations. And I will concede that, yes, anything is possible in the NFL. We see things blow over or come out all the time that that weren't necessarily related to the case, or parties drop sides. Anything can happen. But I also want to bring up something that I found recently about the charges and the maximum and minimum sentences for the charges that James Pearce Jr. is facing. Take a look at this. Maximum prison time, he could be facing up to ostensibly life in prison, right? That's most likely not going to happen. But the minimum here, if he gets the minimum on all of these counts, you are looking at 8 years, 8 to 10 years. This is not something that we can just gloss over. It isn't. So for everybody who's wondering, oh, it's just going to be a little minimum game suspension here, I would caution you to not think like that. Just go in with an open mind as to anything in this possible scenario is possible. So here's my plan for the Falcons. I'm going to move off of JPJ for a second. This is my Atlanta Falcons plan. Football team, football moves. That's what I'm focusing on here. You got to hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. There is a scenario that the Falcons release James Pearce Jr. Just going to have to throw it out there and be completely transparent with you. There is a situation. You hope for the best, you prepare for the worst. And the worst would be that you would have to move on from him entirely. So what do you do from there? Explore re-signing Arnold Ebiketie or David Onyemata. You have to at least address one of those and say, is there any way you'd be willing to come back on a 1 or 2 year prove-it deal? And there's a chance that both of those guys say no. There's a chance they both say yes. There's a chance one of them says yes. But I also think that you can have like a plan C in all of this, and that would be to make calls on Trey Hendrickson. Probably something that is a little bit more of a pipe dream at this point, considering all of the drama going around in Atlanta right now. But you could also make calls on Jalen Phillips. And again, I don't know what either one of these players and their agents are telling them about Atlanta, but I think Jalen Phillips is somebody that will not command nearly as high of a price tag as Trey Hendrickson that you could potentially go after. I mean, he's not nearly as good as Trey Hendrickson either, but you get my point. He's kind of a multifaceted edge rusher. He can stop the run and go after the quarterback, as evidenced by his 2025 stats. But this is not a biography or an in-depth deep dive into Jalen Phillips. This is just a potential option right off the bat. 53 tackles, 7 for loss, 5 sacks. He did rank 9th in total pressures this year in the NFL with 74 total pressures. So another option the Atlanta Falcons could explore if they quickly wanted to pivot off of James Pearce Jr. I wish I was more optimistic in this. I wish I had more information, and I wish I had more of a legal precedent and understanding of the law that I could give you, but I don't. I work for Chat Sports, right? Like, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a lawyer. I'm not going to pretend that I know what all of these parties are thinking or what the plan of action is. But here's what I do know is I can talk about football. And my question is about football. Would you add another edge for the Atlanta Falcons? Yes or no down in the comment section down below. That's all I got for you today, Falcons fans. I'll be back as more information comes in. Hopefully after this episode, we can start to focus a little bit more on the football side of things. As always, rise up and be cool.